Hello and welcome to Unprofessional Engineering. My name is James.
And you got Luke.
All right, Luke, what are we talking about this week?
I can't believe we haven't talked about drones yet.
We haven't talked about drones
Or
yet.
have you? Because there was the pre-Luke.
We haven't talked about drones
But you did
yet.
talk about drones previously.
No, I mean, maybe in passing, but we haven't dedicated a whole episode to it like we should. So this is kind of cool.
Okay, yeah, so we're talking about drones today, and we're going to talk about the history of drones, how long they've been around, some practical applications, all sorts of things. But before we do that, James, as usual, I have some...
Not again. How could a drone have scarred you? I mean, they just came out pretty much.
It physically scarred me, not like emotionally.
Go for it.
So this was, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago. My daughter wants a drone, Christmas, whatever it was, 2 years ago, because all kids want drones. And I get her that really small nano drone, which is virtually impossible
to fly. Right.
Like, hits the wall, whatever. So we open it up Christmas. It's charged, which is awesome. We turn it on.
That's a great thing, though. You need it to be charged when you open it.
I run it into a wall in about 3 seconds, and it breaks. And I basically ruin Christmas vacation because I couldn't find this specific drone anywhere else.
That's unfortunate.
During Christmas.
That's way to ruin Christmas.
And
so
then,
you broke your daughter's toy.
I did, and because I had to show her how to use it, of course. That's what all dads do, right?
Yeah.
I just get in there and I show her how it's done, and I ruined it.
Way to go.
But then I got a replacement drone, and this time I flew it into myself, and I actually gave myself a gash on my arm, and I was bleeding. So I was physically hurt by this little micro drone.
Wow. Way to go.
Sorry.
I feel bad for your daughter.
I do too sometimes.
All right,
let's
get into some actual drone engineering.
Actual drone engineering. Let's roll.
All right, so drones, also called UAVs. Did you know that?
I think UAV is the military term typically, right?
Unmanned aerial vehicle.
That sounds so technical.
So drones actually started with the military or the government, you know, not real surprising.
I'm sure.
Because you know what we hate doing is sending people on dangerous missions when we could just send a little robot to get blown up.
But what happens when robots have like awareness, like artificial intelligence? Do we feel bad then?
You could go listen to our artificial intelligence podcast episode and learn all about that.
That was a totally unplanned segue.
That was well done.
Nice.
So a couple of things I wanted to throw out here as intro stats, because I know you love the numbers.
I love stats.
The Bureau of Investigation Journalism estimates that in Pakistan alone, the U.S. executed more than 400 drone attacks and killed as many as 4,000 people.
That's bananas.
That's bananas. Not to mention, you know, drones are only so smart. Up to 1,000 were civilians and 200 were children. So apparently I'm setting us off on a real downer of a...
You just ruined my day.
I know.
God, you're horrible sometimes.
So that's pretty sad, but, you know, it didn't cost any soldiers their lives, so that's something.
Yeah, and...
So maybe it needs some fine-tuning is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, war's difficult, too. It is. So, interesting fact. I got some facts for you, which I never bring to the table usually for these podcasts.
This is very accurate.
Very rarely. So, do you know when the earliest unmanned aerial vehicle was used?
I don't.
Wild guess.
1807.
Oh, my goodness. That is such a good guess.
Really?
1849.
Wow.
It was August 2nd. And the Austrians attacked the Italian city of Venice with a balloon.
Oh, see, so I was looking into some of that. I didn't see these dates, but it was kind of a question of, does that count as a drone? It's a balloon, it's unmanned. How is it being guided?
Well, maybe some strings.
So there actually was a guy
I don't know. I mean,
pulling it along.
It kind of defeats the purpose.
It does.
But yeah, but that's pretty crazy. They would basically tie bombs to these balloons. They'd let the air current take it over top of the city. They'd have like a super long fuse, right, that they knew how long it would take, and boom, boom, and next thing you know, you're blowing people up with balloon bombs.
Okay, so what else do you got for me? Or is that the only fact you decided to come up with?
You're so hurtful.
I am. I'm a little harsh today.
So drones have been used in every, like a real drone, not the balloon drone, but an actual unmanned aerial vehicle has been used in every war since World War I.
Since World War I.
So they were making unmanned
airplanes.
airplanes.
Yeah.
And the drones themselves typically have been, military weapons, but what the military does with them now is they're using them for reconnaissance. They are using them for weapons.
Okay.
And they're also doing it for surveys.
Yeah,
Which
makes
I
sense.
tie into that a little bit later when we talk about real jobs that drones do.
Real jobs, I like that. Just another robot stealing jobs from us hardworking humans.
And do you know there's two basic types of drones?
Oh my
Another
gosh.
fact.
Settle down. We're not to that point yet
Okay,
in this
sorry.
conversation.
We're not there,
You're really
sorry.
ruining things
I'll back
for
off.
me.
I'll back off. Your
I
turn.
did know. I think I told you this yesterday, in fact, that there's two types when you were sassing me about the shapes of them. But anyways, so we're breaking this down into basically three sections. Military drones, worker drones, and have fun or be creepy at home drones.
Well, what about racing drones? Or that's
That's the fun home
okay.
sort
I
of
gotcha.
thing. All right, so let's start with military because we've kind of been on that anyways, right?
Yep.
So during the Cold War, the U.S. really ramped up their research of drones. So like you were saying, back in World War I, this was all well and good, but we didn't really have the technology to make these things a big deal.
They were flying bombs, basically.
They were flying bombs. They were like kamikaze planes without the person, which is great. That's all well and good. That's great, apparently. So during the Cold War, we ramped it up, and we started substituting spy planes for these drones. So that's cool.
So
And
unmanned spy plane.
unmanned spy
okay,
planes.
okay.
So because they were dangerous areas that they were flying into, and we weren't really supposed to be there. So then you always have that old excuse of, oh, it got away from us. We didn't intend for it to be flying over there.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard that on the news how
I'm
many
sure,
times,
I'm
right?
sure.
And then in Vietnam, drones flew thousands of high-risk reconnaissance missions, and a lot of them were destroyed by enemy fire, which, not a big deal because people didn't die then, just our expensive technology did.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they were using it back then as well in such a high amount.
Yeah, and doing recon, so more than likely they had cameras.
Right, so we already got what we wanted from these things. So they blew up, oh well, it's expensive, go build another.
But I would guess back then the craft had to return because they couldn't transmit back then, I imagine.
Yeah,
So
probably not.
They probably recorded it, and then when it came back, they had to get the film. So if it crashed, they didn't get the data they needed.
Well, that's what yeah, you're right. But
As usual.
I don't
Just
know about
saying.
that. Engineers were equipping the drones with the surveillance cameras at that time, and so they would be able to document the troops, where they're deployed, where they're hiding, and we didn't need to send some poor scout out there to Lieutenant Dannett, and that's probably in poor taste.
It is in
But,
poor taste.
So that's that. In 2002, so I'm skipping ahead here a bit.
Way ahead.
Am I missing something?
No, just
Okay.
that's a big gap.
All
Just
right.
go ahead.
So the CIA used the first Predator drone, which is a pretty well-known drone, I guess. We've probably heard of that in the
Yeah.
news at some point.
Yep.
To kill an enemy combatant in Afghanistan. This drone, so now I'm always used to thinking about like the quadcopters or the things we're flying at home. This drone can fly more than 500 miles in a single mission. The things at home last like 7 minutes. This sucker's flying 500 miles.
At best, they last 7 minutes.
Yeah. And it can just circle targets for hours, watching them, following their movements and being creepy. So that's pretty crazy. Another fun fact, again, because you love... Ooh, I'll let you guess on this one. I know you love guessing.
Let's go.
How many drones does the U.S. military have, roughly?
I'm going to say they have 7,500 drones.
Did you look this up?
No, I didn't. I swear I didn't.
So they have 11,000 manned airplanes. They have 8,000 drones.
I'm a
So
genius.
you are
genius.
you are really good at this guessing
I'm a
game.
genius.
Man, that makes my
Nice.
last guess look not so good. Well, that's okay. So the military breaks it into three types of drones.
Okay.
So they have the mini, the tactical, and the strategic. So the mini drones are mini, they're small, go figure. And they're used for short-range surveillance missions.
Gotcha.
So kind of like we were talking about in Vietnam, go find where those troops are, tell us, or, where maybe bombs are at, whatever. They go and do those short missions. Tactical drones can fly around for all sorts of time. They can fly 200 miles, give or take, and they assess what the enemy's doing.
Okay.
And then
That's a
strategic...
tactical drone.
That's a
does it.
tactical.
Okay.
And then a strategic are the ones that we like. They're a lot of fun because they can fly for days and they can carry weapons.
Pew,
Pew,
pew.
pew is right. That's like my pea shooter sound, but that's probably what their bombs sound like as well.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that
I mean,
is.
it's awesome, but, be careful.
Well, I mean, the technology's awesome, and
See how I'm trying to use my filter? Like, it's awesome that they're carrying giant bombs, but not that awesome in case someone's listening and angry.
the fact that you were using a filter today,
Very impressive, right?
very impressed with you.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add to this? I have a few more military stats. If
No, I
you're so
actually don't
interested.
have much more on the military stuff, so
Okay.
I will let you. I like playing a guessing game if these are numbers, James. I felt like
Well,
I
let's see
did
here.
really well on that last one.
How about this? The newer, pricier versions have full-blown jet engines attached to them. How fast can they fly?
Ooh,
These are unmanned drones. How fast
unmanned
can they
drones,
fly?
jet engines. I'm gonna say they fly 197 miles an hour.
500 miles per hour. That wasn't very good.
No, it wasn't.
No, but that's pretty amazing. 500 miles per hour. And how high can they fly?
High. Well, I know there's this one I heard of. It's called like a solar something. I can't
solar
remember
something,
I can't
okay.
remember the full name of the drone, but basically it's
Good
a solar
research.
drone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, keep up the good work.
Sometimes I don't like you.
I know.
So it's a drone that has these really wide wings with solar panels on it, and
Okay.
it actually powers itself like indefinitely with solar power. So I imagine like
Wow.
that one, as long as it's kind of going where the sun is, it could kind of fly forever, right?
So it doesn't fly where the sun don't shine. It's in
yeah.
good shape.
I would guess these drones could probably fly for 30 days.
I didn't ask how long. I said how high.
Oh, hi. Sorry. How
terrible
high?
at this
I'm going to
game.
say they can fly 10,000 feet.
50,000 feet.
That was a James answer.
That
I
was a
just
James
gave.
answer, so good for you. Let's see. More than 400 drones have crashed since 2001.
And these are just military we're talking about, right?
These are military.
Okay,
Yep. Oh
gotcha.
yeah, because I mean, all of us have crashed
Because I
drones.
crashed mine on
Twice.
Christmas twice.
Yeah. I have a story about that too. Once we get to the home section, I'll give you that one.
Good.
So many disasters have been averted as well because, these aren't manned crafts crashing, so that's great.
Yep.
And then a lot of these also have something really cool, which is if they get in trouble or if a connection is broken,
Okay.
they have an automatic switch in them that it's like, uh-oh, something's going wrong, I'm flying back home. And so wherever they are, no matter what's happening, boom, back home they go.
That's pretty sweet.
I thought so, yeah.
That's there's some serious like intelligence built in because it would need to know the existing path. It would need to know, where it came from. So these
Right.
things obviously have like ultra accurate GPS in them, I would imagine, to get back to home base.
One would imagine that has to be true. And, they are sending us surveillance. We need to know where they're at when they're scouting on people, things like that. So
Yeah.
they probably have to be pretty accurate.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So what else do you have for me, Luke? What would you like to talk about
So
next?
I feel like we need to talk about like drones doing real work, and not that the military stuff isn't real work, but like stuff that
Tangible work,
stuff
maybe,
that
for the average
consumers,
Joe.
the average Joe, people that aren't in the military. So
Our listeners, the average Joe. No?
okay, I'll go with the average Joe.
Hey, that was my marketing
No, but no,
spiel.
this is more like commercial uses for
Right.
for drones
Gotcha.
and business uses. So there's actually a company out there called Kespri. I'm sure I'm saying their name incorrectly.
Probably.
I'm sure I am. But these folks use drones to measure aggregate and mining material. So if you imagine like a huge field of piles of coal, piles of aggregate,
I'm imagining it.
here's what they do. They fly a drone over it. They scan it. They
do.
got this crazy software in the background that understands the measurements, heights, widths, and it'll actually give you highly accurate volumes based off of an aerial scan from a drone.
That's pretty impressive.
That is really impressive. I mean, I know they've done like some scanning, but the fact that they could do scanning and then have software that takes that scan and turns it back into reportable data, I think is pretty impressive.
That's good.
Another thing that drones are doing in real life is they're doing HD scans of existing construction sites. So if you're going to be, bulldozing a site that you're planning on, putting a building on, and you need to get topographical information, they can actually, again, do a high resolution scan, get that topographical info, and have all that information. You can pull that into your software package and then use that as the base for what you build around, where typically you'd see those folks out there with the white hard hats on and the yellow jackets and all those crazy,
Yeah.
survey
Tripod
pieces of
thingies.
equipment.
Yeah.
So this happens all automatically.
Okay.
And so topographical construction sites and just all kinds of stuff. Security, there's just tons of commercial business applications. Amazon is, I keep hearing that they're going to be delivering packages via drones.
I keep hearing that. Like they have to set up little ports for them to stop at and charge and whatever else. And the packages, of course, can only weigh so much, but that would be pretty
I've
awesome.
heard pizza delivery too. The Domino commercial, you've seen where they deliver that. That's got to be just a gimmick. I can't imagine
They'd
actually
have to
delivering
make
pizza.
a pretty cool oven mitt to put that pizza in to keep it warm when it shows up to my door, right?
Yeah, and I just, that's got to be a gimmick. I mean, I can't imagine that would be.
I just
good
read
in any
something.
way.
This has nothing to do with anything, but the Domino's,
so please tell us.
The Domino's stock has outperformed Google, Apple, anyone huge over like the last 8 years or 10 years or something. It's just exploded. Once they rebranded themselves and have been doing well overseas, they've been killing it.
Pizza.
And I missed out on that one as well.
I'm sure you did.
Hey, before we go on with any more how drones are helping us,
Okay.
let's take a break for a word from our sponsor.
Who's our sponsor this week, James?
Well, no sponsor this week, Luke. But I do have a shout out.
Oh.
A shout out to Evan. Evan wrote in with a screenshot showing that he has subscribed to our podcast. He's a new listener. Love it so, and said, send me my sticker. And good news, Evan, and everyone else listening, the stickers are underway. They're being now and this time next year is when you're going to be looking at it or looking for it. But if any of you want an Unprofessional Engineering sticker, just subscribe to our podcast. Go to iTunes or Google Play or wherever the heck it is you listen to this stuff. Look up Unprofessional Engineering, click that subscribe button, and then tell us. Email us at unprofessionalengineering@gmail.com or hit us up on Facebook, and you will get a sweet sticker. Who wouldn't want that?
I know I want one. I need one on the front of my computer
I
here.
think you do.
I definitely
I know you do.
It's a brand new computer. It looks all corporate.
Yeah,
all kinds of stickers.
you do need a lot of stickers. So anyways, reach out to us. It's great.
It is
Boom.
great.
It is. All right.
Thank you.
Back to how drones are taking my job.
How is that?
Oh, is it my turn to talk?
I think it was kind of your turn. Maybe not.
So you've been talking about some cool applications. Here's one. I grew up in the sticks, we'll say. And
Yeah, you did.
I did.
Grow up in the sticks.
And farmers can use drones and are using drones to better monitor their fields as well as keep a better eye on their livestock, which is kind of interesting. And they also can use them to fly around and check the fencing around their areas, either for the crops to keep nasty deer out like I do, or to make sure their livestock can't get out.
You're a farmer?
Well, in my garden at home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's different. So that's kind of cool that they can do that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
that would have to make their job a whole lot easier if you think about, how big a farm is and how much time it takes to, like you just said, check on a fence. That's got to save a ton of time.
Another thing that I've worked on personally, very little, but with a small company, is checking gas pipelines with drones. They're actually able to fly around, and I believe it's because of the heat or the gas leaving the natural gas leaving the pipe. They're able to find cracks in those pipes and save on repairs and obviously lost natural gas. So that's pretty cool that a drone can do that. It covers a lot more space than a human can.
Way more.
So that's pretty neat.
One of the good things I like about these drones and the jobs that we currently do.
I don't.
It's not one of those things where like the drone is like totally taking your job. I mean, every drone there is, or you may have some info that I don't know about.
No, go ahead. Keep going. I love where you're going with
I
this.
feel every drone needs a pilot, right?
Exactly.
And every drone, I'm sure there's some you can build in some intelligence, but ultimately you need someone to fly that drone, to tell it where to go, when to come back, take the data and do something with it. So as cool as drones are and as many jobs as they are starting to do for us, I think it's really interesting that the drones need people still. And then just think about all the people that are like making the drones, like the factories of people producing them. I mean, they're probably not made here in the U.S., unfortunately, in a lot of cases, but, we're providing jobs to people in other countries, right?
This is true. I love that you went there and that we really don't compare notes before this very much, because you're like, there have to be jobs for this, right?
Yeah, there's got to be, right?
So by one estimate, drone technology could create more than 100,000 jobs in the next decade. That's pretty cool. Commercial drone pilots are going to be starting with an annual salary around $50,000 to $100,000.
So you mean like a person
Dude
driving
flying the drone.
like a commercial jet with people?
No. Like commercial use flying.
Okay.
So checking out pipelines, checking out farmers' fields, scanning.
So you're telling me I can go to college to learn how to fly a drone and then get paid to fly a drone?
In fact, you can go to the University of North Dakota, who is increasingly offering degrees for piloting drones in anticipation of this drone explosion.
Go Ducks.
Not,
Are they the Ducks?
I doubt
North
it.
Dakota, yeah, it sounds good.
but-
North Dakota Ducks. I'm just saying.
I feel like they would be a bison or
Okay,
something.
the Bisons. Go Bisons. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll go with bisons. If anybody knows, write in and tell us what a North Dakota is.
Yeah, what their mascot is.
Yeah.
We'll send them a sticker.
Oh, we'll send you a sticker. That's
Yes.
right. Email us with the answer. All right. So I thought that was cool that you can
That's
go to
very
college.
cool.
And of course it's North Dakota where nobody's at, so you can fly
That's like
around
my
and crash.
dream as a kid. Like you're playing video games all day, you got a controller in your hand. The fact that you could do that for a living, that's amazing to me.
That is amazing.
How am I going to find that in my research?
I don't know.
Why am I doing this job right now if I could be doing that?
I don't know. That's a great question. All right, so what else do you have for
So
me?
I want to talk a little bit about drone racing, which I don't think you looked into at all.
I did not, but go for it.
Okay, so drone racing, I'm sure if you just Google drone racing, the videos that they have of these drone races is so intense. And I think it was maybe a year and a half ago, they did a race through the Miami Dolphins Stadium.
Okay.
And they went all along the ramps onto the field, through the uprights, and basically what the drone racing is, it's super high speed. These things go like 150 miles an hour top speed.
Wow.
They can corner at like 80 miles an hour, like hairpin turns. But what they do is they have to go through obstacles. So they got to go through a hoop that's, maybe 4 or 5 feet in diameter, ultra high speed. There's usually like, 5 or 6 or 8 people racing at one time. They're crashing into each other. This is on ESPN.
I saw that. So the one thing I looked
crazy.
at was that there's an official drone racing league,
Yep.
which is cool, and that it's on ESPN, ESPN2, and if you've seen any videos of it, man, that's
It's
intense. Yeah.
So guess what the 0 to 80 miles per hour is? I don't know why it's 80 instead of 60.
Why don't they do
It's- I
60?
don't know. It's a
Okay,
drone.
go
They
ahead.
gotta be different.
Yeah.
Guess.
3.1
Oh
seconds.
my goodness, that is your best guess you've ever given.
Okay.
It is, they go in, I'm sorry, that's a horrible guess. It's under 1 second. I read it wrong. Oh, there go your
There go my
shades.
glasses. Yeah.
So they go from 0 to 80 miles per hour in under 1 second. So these drones
impressive.
are faster than the fastest car in production right now, which is crazy.
That's impressive.
Couple other things. So these racing drones, they're made out of carbon fiber bodies.
Makes sense.
They're equipped with HD live streaming video cameras.
Okay.
And just to get started in this, like if you're thinking you want to do this, it's like $2,000 for a starter kit.
That can't compete with anyone.
They can't compete with anybody. Then you add
Okay.
the first person goggles that they wear when they do this racing, because they do this with a headset on. So it's like VR. So they have a
Okay.
headset on, they're racing it. And so it's not like you see the drone from where you're standing. You're actually seeing it like if you were in the drone.
That sounds like it would make me sick.
yeah, the
because I'm
only-
not good at that stuff.
Yeah, the only way to really compete is these are custom built. And guess how much money you could win? And don't look at my notes. If you would win, not this race, this drone
One
racing
race
league,
or the whole league?
like the whole shebang.
1.2 million.
Oh, your guesses are so much better this week. $1 million was a grand prize in a race last year sometime in
That's
Dubai,
pretty good.
which is
Well,
crazy.
yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Good for them.
That's awesome.
They should go to college for that. Go ahead,
they
kids.
should.
Go to North Dakota. I'm going to up their attendance big time and become a drone racer.
Go Bison. Sorry.
All right. So a little bit more at-home stuff. So you said there are two primary types of drone. I'm going to go with the fixed wing and the rotary. Does that sound about right?
I was thinking more like horizontal takeoff and landing and vertical takeoff and landing. Are those
okay.
the same things we're talking about?
So fixed wing kind of looks like an airplane, and it's like it's going to drop a bomb or carry a weapon.
So it's a plane.
So it's like a
basically.
plane,
It looks
right.
like a plane.
The rotary is probably what we're more used to thinking,
When
the
you say drone,
quadcopter.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it has those 4, 6, 8, whatever propellers and lifts up and then flies
There's
around.
actually 4 types of those. There's a tricopter, which are super small, quad, hecta, and octa.
So it has 3
So
blades?
super
propellers?
small. I don't know if those ones are as popular anymore because I
That
imagine
sounds
they're
difficult.
really unstable.
Yeah.
But yeah, tri, quad, hecta, and octa.
Okay.
And obviously, the more propellers, the bigger payload, cameras, all that sort of
Right,
stuff.
so that's what I was going to get into next is kind of what you're just talking about, is the lift of this. So it's kind of a trade-off with drones. The heavier they are, the more power it takes to lift them, but you need batteries to power all of these propellers.
Yeah.
So people think, okay, we'll just put in bigger batteries or add more of them, but actually the weight is worse, so it makes their flight time even lower.
So battery technology's got to be
Battery
super
technology
important.
needs to improve, right? So most drones only fly for 15 to 20 minutes because of this, if that, and that's like a good drone for people at home. So this is all about lift, right? So the propellers cause lift, which is what pushes the drone off of the ground.
Okay.
It lifts up high, and then you can change kind of like what propellers are working harder. So if it's 4, maybe the 2 front ones don't go as fast and it will tip and fly. Or if you do want to make a turn, the 2 on, let's say, the left side slow down and the right ones speed up and it starts to bank. So it's all about controlling these different propellers and how fast they spin. But that's not really a you problem. That's more of the person who programmed it problem.
Yeah, I sure hope
'Cause
so.
You press I want to go left, and it just knows what to do because someone smarter than us designed these things.
I can imagine, and
So
I
that's nice of
imagine
them. I appreciate
that based
that.
on the size, you got and the motors and everything. Like that's different for every single
Right.
quadcopter or whatever kind of drone you have.
Right. So maybe before we wrap things up here, we should go into some of the drones that are out there for people.
We can do that. I do want to cover one thing.
Okay.
I know we only got a few minutes left here, but just a couple things. So there are FAA regulations for commercial drones.
There
because
are.
I don't think it used to be a big problem, but then you started getting the people flying these over
More
people's
and more
houses,
of us, right.
and they're flying over airports, places they're not allowed to be. So a commercial drone, so a drone you and I could buy and fly, or a business could use for business purposes, can't weigh any more than 55 pounds.
Okay. 55. Wow.
Which is big.
That is.
I mean, you're only what, 60 or 70?
Give or take.
Give or take. It can maximum fly 100 feet in altitude, so the altitude is limited. My guess is that way they don't run in the planes. And they can go no more than 100 miles per hour. They can only fly for 30 minutes before sunrise and 30 minutes after sunset.
Wow.
And if you get caught, you get
big fine time.
You get in some troubles.
Okay.
And my guess is when the FAA is telling you you've done something wrong, you get in some severe trouble.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not a slap on the wrist at that point.
Last fact, and then
Okay.
we can do your wrap up. So the global sales are projected to be over 10 million units in
Wow.
2017, and this is just like you and I buying drones. This isn't any of the military stuff,
Right.
but this is just people buying drones.
That's
and
amazing.
it's going to be over $3 billion in 2017, the sales of drones, and over 10 million units.
Wow. That's pretty impressive.
It's very impressive. I feel like I should start selling drones.
Yeah. So people that are buying drones, if you're looking for one of your own and you want to spend a little bit of money, DJI is one of the common names, and you might recognize the Phantom. So I think the Phantom 4 is their latest that's out. It's like $1,000 a pop. So that's pretty expensive, but it's pretty cool, 12 megapixel 4K camera, live view at 720p. So that's pretty impressive. And it has the return home safely
I like that.
feature on it. They have a number of other ones, a little less expensive because they're older now as well. And there's also the Parrot Bebop.
I've heard of that one.
That's another one that's pretty common. Still $500, 19-minute flight time, 12.5 megapixel camera. So another good option. Now, if you're like me, and you can't afford these things, here's some more affordable options, and these all range in the $30 to $40 range. The Hubsan X4, So this is a palm-sized model that can fly around indoors, outdoors. Batteries are included if that's important for you, and it comes back and USB connection to charge it. So that's good.
And I feel like if any one of these manufacturers want to send us
Yeah, if anyone wants to send us a drone for us to review and write on our blog about how great it is, you feel free to do that.
we'll take one.
Yeah, unprofessionalengineering@gmail.
I don't know if I want the $40 one.
I do. I'll take any of them.
I'll just crash it into my wall anyways.
That's true. The YIZHAN Golden X4 is another one, and it actually has a little night light, so if you're flying at night, you can see where you're going.
30 minutes after sunset.
Well, in your backyard, you might get away with it. That's it. And it offers different skill levels. Like, it's more challenging to fly if you crank up the skill level. You can